when you clear your throat in the thing, it sounds nice. It's like that is like amplified.
I feel like this thing can turn into like a late night podcast.
Right?
Ooh, Dr. Love.
I thought so too. I had that idea. Business after 9.
Ooh, that one is dope. I don't know what that business is.
Let's make biashara sexy. So cool.
His arms are heavy.
Get the words right faster.
Spaghetti.
First get the lyrics.
No, let me take it from. Let me see on the back.
You better lose yourself
I
in
don't know how
the moment.
Go hard, go home. Go hard, go home. Go hard, go home.
What's up, guys? Welcome to the Start Here show, a show that's focused on championing the lives of young people. Here we want to bring stories, opinions, perspectives from the inside out on matters that are concerning life and concerning the so-called making it in both the business world and even in our own personal struggles. Of course, all of this is to help us navigate whatever challenges that lie ahead. So yes, we're going to have some serious conversations, but of course, we're also going to have some fun. So without saying too much, let's get started. So this being the first show, the idea was to, I think, start from the beginning. And this is how I always think about it. Whether you're a business person who's thinking this big vision, or whether you're this person who always thinks of the side hustle, I think the starting point for everything is this one thing that we call the idea. And that's what we want to talk about today. And of course, I'm not by myself. I'm joined by the ever lovely Cris Njoki. What's up?
Hi, how are you doing?
How are you doing?
Mm-hmm.
I have to address the elephant in the room.
What's the elephant?
Cris.
Yeah.
Is there a full name?
No, I just like.
Or your
Cris.
parents were just bougie.
Yeah.
It's either that or you're Christopher.
You can send me M-Pesa and find out.
Then you are Sok.
No, please. Just add 2 more zeros. Thanks.
Yep. So Cris and I, of course, the idea is not to bring you this whole rule book of anything that is going to be the topic or subject matter of anything that we're talking about.
Yeah.
The whole idea is I think we've been in spaces and people around us have been in spaces where you are either discussing or are in business or are thinking of business. Mm-hmm. And I think the whole idea is for us to sort of like share nuggets. And so with every single topic we bring, the idea is that we're going to have our thoughts, opinions. Sometimes we will agree, sometimes we will not agree.
Yeah.
Sometimes the whole purpose is to just have this vibe. Mm-hmm. I think from history, every single person who has ever had an idea, when I think about this from say 30 years ago, right, I think the challenges were very different from now.
Right now,
I think in the past you were this person who, let's say you were coming up with this glass. Mm-hmm. All you needed was, and I'm not trying to belittle the challenge, but all you needed was to find the money to produce this and find it, distribute it in a way, and then make people aware of it. Mm-hmm. Of course, the existence of it was finding people in a moment of scarcity. I think the environment is people are looking for glasses, for example.
Right.
I think today's environment is a bit difficult. It's a bit different. And not to put any, and not to shed any, and not to throw any shade to anybody who started many years ago. The whole idea is, I think now the barriers to entry are more the barrier to acceptance.
Right.
And I think there's that route between the idea and its reality that always seems to be like this straight line, but ideally, and the way it is, it's like this, and of course we can attest to it. It's something that's always jagged. It's not, and I think anyone who's trying to figure it out, this is the starting place. That whole thing of the idea. I think I'm taken back to a time when I was taken for one of these career days. And
how old are you?
I was as old as I am right now.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. I was supposed to be, so it's a client for my 8 to 5
so
site.
You weren't going for you weren't participating.
No. I was called because there's these things they do about kids between the ages of 15 and 20. Those guys who are trying to, that age, which I think is very unfair. That age when you're being asked, what do you want to be? Yes.
You mean your whole teenage year.
Yeah, when you're a 16-year-old and you're supposed to make a life-changing decision about what you're supposed to be. Yeah. So the idea is that they bring people who are in different fields, and then they just talk to guys and so on and so forth. And I remember this kid who just raised his hand, and what he asked was, what's a good idea to start a business with? And I didn't have an answer. Because personally, I think that ideas are not ideas in a vacuum. Like, ideas are dependent on people. There are different personalities. Not everybody can start a car wash. Not everyone can do Icon.
It's true.
And I think that's where we want to start from. What are those things? What are those storos that we could have that maybe give people some form of clarity? Maybe give people some form of sort of guidance. I'm scared to call it guidance, because I feel like it's just telling people what the real is. So that's the whole point. So to start with, I think before we get into it deeper, the whole idea behind, I think the definition of an idea is the ability, and I think this will put on screen, the ability to solve a consumer's problem, deliver it through an experience, create a result enough for someone to pay for it. Am I getting too philosophical?
Very. So that's an idea.
Yes. Because I feel like sometimes we romanticize it. You know, you have conversations with people and they're like, I have niko na hii idea sitaki kuongea sana.
But isn't that what an idea is really? I mean, an idea is just that. It's just an idea. So whether we romanticize it or not, it's just an idea. An idea is literally, I could sit down right now and just think, oh wow, this microphone looks so cool. I think I'll start manufacturing some. It's just an idea. But you see, what goes next after that idea is what actually makes it either a strong idea or something feasible. But an idea can be anything. It can be anything.
Yes, of course.
You know? So I feel like maybe when we get into, you know, the long definition that you just said that I don't remember.
No, but my thing is,
I feel like that's the next step.
Yeah.
You know?
Okay, because for me, I feel like we have this thing where we just want to romanticize that first part. I have an idea. And of course, and there's this world in which we want our ideas to be funded without going too far to understand that whole journey that needs to move it from, and you'll find guys who are like, I wish I was the one who started Facebook. No, you're not. You don't wish you came up with Facebook. And I feel like what it is would have not become it if it wasn't for the people who came up with it. Because there are realities about personality. There are realities about the person behind something. There is the visioning part that I feel like we always go into this space of I need money. And maybe that's the starting point of the things that we want to talk about. So we're going to start dropping some bombs.
Okay.
But before we do that, I think let me start with asking you a question.
Okay.
To start with, ideas are nothing without execution.
Yeah.
Like,
that's a fact.
It is nothing.
Yeah.
So I want to ask, how many ideas did you have before Icon, and what are those things that never made it?
To be honest, like, okay, if I think about it, I was very boring in terms of my idea generation. Because I just had one thing that I really loved doing, which was fashion and style. And that's what I went to school for. So for me, I really didn't have a lot of like, oh my gosh, you know, I could do this instead, I could do this. For mine, it was like very straightforward from the very beginning. So I'm the worst person to ask about ideas. Of course, you have one of those like one-off ideas.
So for you, it was straightforward, like you the thing you did in school.
Yes, but then, okay, maybe it took me some time to get to do that in school. And by school, I mean uni.
Yeah.
So that bridge between high school and uni, I had a bit of some time there trying to figure out what I wanted to do. But once I got into uni and I did fashion, like that was it. For me, I didn't have any other ideas of what I wanted, nothing, you know.
You're lucky.
Am I?
I sold chicken.
Oh, did you?
At some point.
That's good.
And it's that nonsense, well, let me not call it nonsense, but it's that thing where, so me and two other pals of mine, who we are still friends with, I think we've been friends forever. There's that period after where you're trying to get into like the job market. Yeah. And then there's always vibes in this country about, hey, this thing is hot, this thing is...
Get into this. Yeah. Hey, you make cash.
with chicken. So we've, of course, none of us have a background in anything like remotely close food, to farming, right? So
at
here
what point in your life was this, by the way?
Like, let's say 2024.
Wow.
It's that first part of life. When you think you know a lot, but you don't know nothing. Now here's the thing. So I don't want to go on and on about what the story was, but we had this story that chickens are a big business.
Okay.
And this big business that if you just provide, I don't know what. So we spoke to one of our parents and they gave us some space, like a 2-sock chicken. Of course, from chicks age to whatever it is.
So feeding them everything.
That whole thing of feeding them. So at some point it would be like, hey, this week you're chamoying how much, this week you're chamoying how much. And then we had, obviously, it was an idea at that point. Nobody has thought about it beyond that.
Yeah.
And then we had this thing where we had gone around talking to shops, stores, hey, can we deliver this, and so on and so forth. But from where we were trying to make this formal, because we felt like farming is this thing that does not have structure.
True.
So we wanted to be those people who bring structure to everything. And this is not an LPO world that you go to a guy and he tells you, sign here, we're going to bring you an order. We had this thing, and then we went around in between when there were is growing up the term. You can tell I'm a shit farmer. when we were raising
they're raising the chicken,
So anyway,
raising his children.
See why I didn't make it in that. So we had this thing, and we went around and we got orders. So to say,
you did what?
We got orders.
Okay.
So to say, and then at the time when they were ready, we got a guy to chinja, scariest man I've ever met, because one guy chinja 200 chicken, and I was like, who the hell, this guy could be a madman. So anyway, we started zungushaing them. Just before we started zungushaing them, so obviously now we are taking to the orders of the places that we were supposed to.
Yes.
The day of going, a guy tells you, nilichukua ingine last week.
What?
So ulikuwa umeniambia ngapi? 20. Leta 5. And then we go into this other guy, he's like this.
Were they not paying you deposit or the money up front?
Nothing. It was not structured. You see, that one of the biggest problems we had was we are all ideators.
Yes.
We didn't have executors.
Yes.
And we always were not, we romanticized that idea. We never thought about the execution.
You didn't have the person who's counting the money, making sure the money is being paid.
Even forget counting the money. As we knew we were going to create, we even created a brand for it. It was called Mother's Garden.
Ooh.
You know, that the idea being that garden behind your
You
mom's
guys are
kitchen.
Creative. You're very
but all of us were ideators. None of us was in the execution of it. Nobody asked tough questions. And this is why we're saying ideas are nothing without execution.
True.
So of course, days come, and then of course we don't even have like a freezer, because we had thought the moment they're changed, we already
you'll
had
sell
orders,
everything.
So we just go sell. Where? Of course, we've started by giving our friends to store for us in their fridges.
Oh no.
Yeah, so every now evening guys call and they're like, hey baba, hizi kuku na kujia lini? Then you're like, fanya na hivi na hii, I'll do you one solid, kula moja. But you tell guys that for day 1.
Yeah, and then they take advantage. They're
not even taking advantage. They get tired with the damn chicken.
Oh,
and they take this stuff.
Wow.
Long story short, we got up, I think we only sold like maybe 45%. All of the others was had. Then came another problem of trying to dispose. I grew up
because you can't just throw them out.
I grew up in some fancy hood called Kangemi. And as I was growing up, I remember there were some dump sites. So I remember we tried to
you
drive
can't
around.
Feed them to dogs, like stray dogs.
How many dogs can eat?
You just they'll call their friends.
Plus 100 chicken. So anyway, we tried to dispose the damn things. It was a mess.
Oh, no.
But when I think about it, we had done this over romanticizing. We had also done this Kenyan thing of this is hot. We hadn't looked at who we are versus the thing that we are trying to do.
Right.
I'm not saying that chicken business is bad. I mean, it is awesome.
Yeah.
But I don't think it's for me. I don't think that everybody can do the thing that is hot. I'm sure you all remember that time when quails were
the quails.
People put those little birds
in
apartments. Yeah, Kenya, we always jump on these hot little things, and we jump without understanding relevance.
True.
And I think the first thing and a value bomb that I think we need to talk about is ideas are nothing without execution.
For sure.
Awesome. So I think the second part of this is the best part to get an idea from is a concept that I think we've coined as scratch your own itch.
Yeah.
I think anything that starts from a point where you're trying to solve a problem that you yourself have is one of the best places to be.
I think that's where the best ideas come from.
It was Icon and Itch.
Yes, it was. you know, it wasn't at that time. Let me tell you, when I started Icon, before I did actually, I had started another small business before that. And for me, it was just, you know, growing up at that time, you're in uni, you want to look cool, but then your options are very limited and very, very expensive. So even before I got into Icon, I used to sell secondhand clothes. Mtush. And I used to go to Gikosh, you know, go in there, get the clothes, you know, that cheap, and then take photos and put them on Facebook and sell them on Facebook. And I did that before anybody, like now everyone does that. But that was like 10 years ago, before anyone was doing any of that stuff, yeah? And for me at that time, it was sort of like almost the same age, because at that time my dad was very stingy with pocket money.
Well, they need to, because we are useless with money at that age.
Literally, I remember I used to be given, I think, 3,000 a week. And that was including transport, including your shopping, including anything fun you want to do in your life. And my transport per day was coming to about, I think, 400. So go figure. That was not a lot of money. So for me, it was, I had to find a way to look cool without breaking any sort of bank.
Breaking bank.
But there was no bank to break. Like, I just needed to look cool at the most extremely cheap, the cheapest way possible. So you could say it was my itch first, because I was uncomfortable. And then I thought, you know what? I can't be the only one who's going through this, right? So that's when I started that first business. And, you know, it really picked up, and I was able to now find, okay, there's a need for this. But that one was unsustainable, because for me, I kept thinking, I don't control the items I get in the market, right? Yeah. So I need to find a way to still do what I'm doing, but then have complete control. And I remember my dad always used to tell me, you know, you can't keep doing this Gikosh thing. What if they burn down the whole Gikosh one day? Where will you get clothes from? And I was like, okay, yeah, you're right, you know?
We'll deal with that when it happens.
Yeah, but that was constantly in my mind. And that's when Icon started. So you could say it was an itch. And I feel like the best ideas are problems that either you've experienced personally or you can see people experiencing, because then you make an actual difference with the idea.
And I kind of think based on that, you kind of got an understanding. There are these words that people use in business, value chain, that whole thing, where you just kind of get the vibe of what connects to what, understanding the customer likes this and so on and so forth, which I think if you didn't do that, because I think sometimes you find guys who are like, I want to do research,
exactly,
I want to do I want to go to focus groups,
and I don't mind guys going to school or whatever and learning all these things, but let me tell you, the best teacher is experience, you know. And even what you're saying, the getting focus groups, asking them about the product or whatever, no, just start. Your focus group will be your consumer, you know, and then you know if this is a good idea or not.
And then to some extent, I always feel like, you know, the whole journey of bringing that idea to life, it's never, sometimes it has bad days, let's just be honest.
For sure,
and I think if it's not an itch that you're scratching that is yours, there is a moment in which you'd be like, screw this, or
that you even like, you know.
But even there are those days that are tough, and you need something to fall back on.
Definitely.
Because if it's not something that's paining you, it's very easy. I always say
you to quit.
Yeah, you can't abandon yourself.
It's true.
So it's the whole thing of I always wonder was like bonfire adventures. Were these guys lovers of travel at affordable rates in a way that they thought nobody else is doing this? Because I want to believe they came into a world where there was travel agents who were accessed by
corporations or like rich people, you know,
your big ballers.
You remember the time when travel agents were only for big companies, if you're traveling for work or things like that, you couldn't access as a regular mwananchi, you know. So I think it was a niche for them as well.
So I think it's always a beautiful sweet spot. And I think it happens in not just, I think even at workplaces. Really? I always remember this ketchup that, was it Heinz? The one that's upside down. The
upside down Heinz bottle, I
always imagine that it was, you could conduct millions of dollars or even shillings, okay, let's say dollars, in research to try and figure out the best packaging.
Exactly. Or just do what everyone is doing.
Where you observe. And you realize everyone struggles with the
exact same problem.
trying to.
And Heinz is not cheap. I'm not throwing away the bottle with all that ketchup at the bottom.
So
no
we always
thanks.
used to put it upside down next to the tuungas in the
because of the glass bottle was so tiny down there.
See, coming up with that thought was an itch that
it was brilliant.
Scratched. And I think that's a beautiful space and place to start from whenever people are thinking about business. And of course, it lessens this whole learning curve. Because when I go back to the example I was sharing earlier, did we understand farming? No. Did we understand? Maybe we should have sold eggs before we sold.
Were you
chicken.
even interested in farming? Really? You were just interested in the money.
The tombs.
Yeah.
And they never ever showed up because actually we broke.
And then the minute they don't show up, you give up because you're not even interested in animals. You're not interested in livestock of any kind. You know,
on a personal level, I have some beef with
livestock, with chicken,
with broiler chicken, specifically
because of that experience.
I'm like, screw this.
Yeah, but I think you're totally right. Like if you don't have some form of attachment to what you're doing, I mean, it's very easy for that idea to just go flop because there's so many moments you're going to have low, really bad times. And if you don't either enjoy whatever you're doing, the idea you have, or if you don't like sort of have I don't know how to put it, like an attachment to it, if it's not something personal to you, it's very easy to just quit.
Yeah. Do you still go to Gikosh?
I do once now. Okay, to be honest, I haven't been there in a while.
Are your connect still?
Corona.
Oh, okay.
But no, that's a lie. I haven't been there in a while. No, but I go there, but just for personal use,
How do you know what's like? How do you keep yourself with like what's hot?
In terms of icon?
Yeah.
I think for us, it's mainly social media.
Yes.
Yeah, it's become pretty easy.
It's easier to figure it out now.
It's pretty easy, yeah. It's pretty easy to just like see what people are into, things like that. I go to Gikosh just to, I don't know. There's something about when you start, your journey in business. You still really miss those old roots. And let me tell you, I go there, I know still all those guys there. They're like, hey, oh, Jockey. I'm like, yeah, as in, I know all those guys.
I'm sure you're not known as Cris.
No, he's Cris. They don't even see me like
Jockey
this.
Is Jockey. Like the real cute pronunciation.
Jockey.
Yeah, that one.
Everyone knows. Okay, not everybody, but like a bunch of the guys are still there. And I go, and they used to know how to hook me up, get me all the cool stuff, And sometimes you just want to go there and just relive those moments. Because I felt like at that time, I was the most alive, to be honest. You're in there, in the dirt with everyone. Yani, you have matope mpaka your knees. But you're there, like, it's just so invigorating. So I really miss those times. And that's the only reason I go there anyways. I just go say hi to those guys, maybe buy 2 or 3 things.
Any bucks.
Yeah.
Awesome.
But it's cool.
Cool. So you see the way we said that the first starting point is ideas are nothing without execution.
Yeah.
The second bit was where does it even come from? And there's a whole... There's the beauty of you doing something that is solving a problem that you have, and therefore it's like you're scratching your own itch.
Yeah.
There is this world where, and just to put it out blatantly, I think it was Mike Tyson who said, you can make all the plans in the world until you're punched in the face.
Yeah.
And I think this last point is about the reality of planning. And I think, to put it plainly, planning is simply guessing.
Okay.
Unless you're a, I don't know, future teller or whatever, there's certain things that you could never predict.
True.
I don't know. It's one of those things where, to an extent, and you usually find this thing where people want to have a business plan that is 5 years and a whole, I don't know whether you guys
say no for business plans. No.
Yeah, there's this thing about if I gave you a manual written, this is how to swim. Yeah. And I told you have 6 months to read it.
Yeah, and you read the whole thing.
And then after the 6 months I drop you in the middle of the ocean, you will drown.
For sure.
I don't know. What's your take on this whole planning thing?
Me, first of all, I'm so happy you brought up the business plan thing, because that was the one thing I just did not understand that I needed. I mean, why do I need a business plan? Why do I need 40 pages of some document that's going to... It's like I'm foreseeing the future. Yeah. I don't even know if people will like what I'm making, Why am I sitting there talking about my financial plan, our marketing plan? Can we just start with one dress? Let me see, will this work? Will people dig it? You can For me, a business plan, to be honest, was I felt it was almost like something somebody invented to scare people off the idea of starting a business. You know, because you think it's daunting, honestly. And if you even think of people who are, you know, young and they want to start, say they have an idea, say the idea is even amazing, and you're telling a 22-year-old to start writing a business plan, immediately they'll get turned off. But then they forget to tell you that when you're starting the business, like, it's not about the plan. Your plan doesn't mean anything without the execution, you know? And they make you feel like, oh, you know, if you have a plan, you can get investors and all that and funding. And it's like, just start the damn thing.
I almost feel like, you know, people may misread this or misunderstand this. You know, translate it in a different way. I think, I don't know whether saying this is correct, but I think we need to replace that whole word plan with guesses. It's a calculated guess. Let's just call it what it is.
Or goals. Have a business goal. You know?
The problem of planning is that thinking of it in that way is that it has, over the many years, it has taken this whole rigid
structure. It's very boxed in, where like it can only go this direction.
And I think we lie, because nobody in the history of a business plan has ever said in the fourth year of
we did exactly
in
what
the third plan we are going to make a loss. But the reality is you will.
First of all, I want to see a business plan, 5-year business plan that anticipates a loss somewhere there.
There's none.
Always, that means it's all bullcrap.
And I always feel like, and this is I think we need to be careful with this one, but planning is inconsistent with improvisation. You see, like when you're coming up with like the outfits and the way you come up with like lines for a certain period. I'm sure when you started off, before you figured out what even lines and what to go with, because we're not in the Western markets where it's seasons, winter, I don't know what.
Exactly.
There had to be like room for adjustments and not just physical adjustment, but this is going this, and that's why people sometimes, as much as we hit the startup phase, it's one of the most exciting, because there's the comfort that comes with big business that is inconsistent with problem solving. Even in large organizations, when people are talking about a startup culture, it's because there's no problem solving. And I think when you're starting off, you need to be geared towards like solving problems as they come. You have to work on the fly, you know. You start something, you see if it works. If it doesn't, you go this other way, you know. And that's something that a business plan would never ever allow. You know. And it's almost like, to an extent, I know it scares people when you hear start without a plan, because it's risky. But I think starting with a plan that has no relationship with reality is actually scary. It's even more risky, because like it's a romantic view. I feel like a plan is more romanticized than without the plan, because now it's like in your head you're thinking, okay, so if we follow the plan to the letter, this is going to happen, this is going to happen. That's not what's going to happen. What's going to happen is dependent solely on how you execute the things you need to do. You know, how wide do you make plans? Like, well, let's stop calling them plans. Let's make them goals. How long do you do? Well, it depends. Do you mean personal or business? Okay, let's start with business. Okay, business, I'd say 3-month, 4-month goals. Okay, I think are good for us. Personal, honestly, I just go weekly. Are you random? I mean, it's not random. It's weekly plans. Okay, you know, if you think about it, I really don't have. I mean, it's just me. So I make a weekly plan. If we finish that week and a weekly goal. If I finish the week and I've achieved my goals, awesome. Next week, let's do it again. But for business, maybe it needs a bit more structure. So I'd say 3 to 4 month goals works for us. We can't do anything more than 6 months. That's a lie. No, it's a complete lie. I think it's easier to always have this, you know, the end plan, you know, the end goal. And then that never changes. But you always have like little little places in which you can make an adjustment here, go this way, make an adjustment. It's like Google Maps. Recalculating. Or like or like even in the Uber when you maybe you have to shift and go somewhere else. That's I think that's the curse of newness and the curse of starting, but also the blessing of starting, because you're not trying to change the direction of a ship.
Yeah.
You're yourself.
Yeah,
You
it's
can just
true.
like quickly navigate.
What about you? How do you plan your goals?
Personal or business.
Both.
Okay. Business, as I said, I have this thing where at the end of the year I have this thing, but the day-to-day actions.
What's
may-
this thing at the
Well,
end of the year?
I will say, I don't know. It could be a goal that's monetary.
Okay.
It could be a goal that is,
So like a big goal for the year.
yeah, something.
Okay.
But
But then you cut it
But I
up.
have to cut it down into little pieces, and then
Okay.
these little pieces have to be fed by actions that turn daily, and then you just keep yourself. I'm not gonna say that I'm these people who have rooms full of whiteboards and whatnot, but I have this like I don't know, it's a thing. I have this moment every single day when I'm kind of like reminiscing, thinking of how things could have gone or things should go.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So if it's certain number of clients I want to work with, and then again, you're not in control of the clients you want to work with because
Yes.
they're, but there's the large goal, then I break it into pieces.
And
Personally,
I think,
sorry to interrupt,
it's
but
no problem.
personally,
Yeah.
I'm very spontaneous.
Really?
Oh yeah, I'm very spontaneous.
So give us a time
sometimes
frame.
it's first of all, if it's fun times,
Yeah.
I can't plan fun times.
Okay.
Yeah, this thing of what are you doing next week Saturday? I never know what to tell you because it happens that morning,
Yeah.
depending on the vibe, depending on the feeling, whatever. Yeah, what were you saying?
But then, okay, so before I even get to what I was saying, in terms of your personal goals, right? You're saying you can't plan because it's fun times, whatever,
Yeah, fun
it's
times I
spontaneous. But you still have those goals that you should like have, like things like where do you wanna, what's like your growth? I don't know how.
Is that those interview questions for where do you want to
Kind
be in
of.
5 years?
Or not even 5 years. It's like what. Even as soon as next month, what is it that you want to see you've achieved? Or because at the end of the day, it's a constant we're in constant motion all the time, right?
Yeah.
So what direction are you headed? So do you make those plans, those goals for your personal life? Or?
Okay, so I think the thing about me is I have found that a lot of the decisions I make in personal life are intertwined with the things that happen in the business life.
Right.
So a lot of times it's going to be like a parallel.
It's like they're all moving
It's moving
together-ish.
in parallel.
Okay, cool.
And I've found that working.
Yeah.
And I think the rest just comes to switch my mind off of work, which is a dangerous thing because you're never switching off because you're always like working.
Yeah.
But it's something that I'm trying to learn to switch off. But the main point is, and the answer to your question is that it's very intertwined.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Did you ever make a business plan yourself?
Yes.
You did?
That business went nowhere.
Was it for the chicken?
No. That one clearly never had anything. I did. I even went this thing where you do a business plan and then you go look for investors. And
Wow.
Then, I did that whole shebang.
So is this for a whole other different
Oh,
business?
yeah.
Or is it for...
Yeah.
How many businesses have you tried to start?
I think the big ones, the ones that had, there's this two side things.
Of course.
But there's the main ones. There were two main ones.
And then how many side things? Because those are still
No,
businesses.
side things actually. I'm terrible with side things.
Okay. Was the chicken a side thing, for instance?
It was trying to be,
Okay.
and that was proof that I am.
You're bad at
I
side
am
things.
terrible at those side things.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's I did those things of writing it, and I'm not saying that people don't get anywhere whenever they do, but I did it. It didn't work for me because I felt like it was again another impediment that made me not start, and I feel like, and maybe this is the closing of everything. At the end of the day, you kind of have to start.
Imagine you have to.
You just kind of have to start.
Yeah.
And I know we've said that there's no ideas without execution. Then again, I know we've said execution requires plans, but plans are also guesswork. But in between there, it's the truth.
At any point in between all those things, just start. You just have to start at the end of the day.
You have to start.
Yeah.
And if you're starting based on certain truths, and those truths become a problem that you yourself deal with,
Yeah.
you're gonna. I feel you will start somewhere, and a lot of times where you start after 3 years, you always laugh at it.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah, but the way I think we said this even off, is this off air or off camera? But whatever.
Off camera and air, air camera.
We've said it before. Like there's. I even lost my train on that point, but there is a whole. bottom line, guys,
Yeah.
you have to start.
Begin. Yeah, it's true.
And that's maybe the main point of this whole show.
Yeah. No, I'm with you on that completely. I think, it can get scary for everybody.
Yeah.
When you have an idea and it needs to, you feel you have that conviction that it should be something and get somewhere. And it's scary. I'm sure you had some fears as well. I was scared shitless. Yeah, I was scared shitless starting, and I kept formulating all these excuses. I don't have a plan. I don't have this. I don't have money. But at the end of the day, imagine if you don't start, you'll never get anywhere, and you'll never get to know if what it is you're doing is viable or not. Start with what you have. Start where you are, because everyone can start with something. You don't have to, glamorize it like you need all these people and all these plans and all these things. Just start from where you are.
Yeah. And I think I've just remembered what we were saying earlier.
Go for it.
Maybe in closing. Like, the moment you start, that's the worst it will always be.
That's true.
That's the worst.
It will never get any worse than that.
So, of course, the earlier you do it, the better.
Yes.
All right.
I agree.
Super.
So, guys, we've come to the end of our discussion today, and Jimmy and I are just here to, talk about some of our experiences. Again, we'd like to add that we're not experts in this field. We just felt that there was no space for entrepreneurs to just be able to bring up these conversations, because we struggled when we were starting out. We're still learning up to this day, and we just wanted to create a space where we could all just talk about what this big thing is, these big ideas, all these things that are involved in making your big idea a reality. So if you guys want to contribute to the conversation, you can leave comments, let us know what your struggles have been. If you want to add on to what we've been discussing today, let us know. And yeah, we'll be seeing you next time.
Go hard, go home. Go hard, go home.